If you're searching for a divorce attorney, here are some red flags that you should really watch out for. First, if you walk into their office and you see files on the floor, quite frankly, if you see paper files at all, run screaming in the other direction. Just remember, in those files is somebody's life. It is somebody's kids, it is somebody's finances, it is somebody's new beginning that has just been shoved aside and shoved on the floor. Anytime I see that, it makes me absolutely livid, because if they treat your file like that, that is how they're going to treat your life. So if you walk into an attorney's office and you see that, turn right back around and get out. The next red flag that I see in a divorce attorney is when you have an attorney that is talking about gender issues in a way that makes it seem like you're going to have an unfair advantage or an unfair disadvantage because of how you choose to identify. We live in our nation's capital, and thankfully, most of the judges around here, the vast majority, look at parents like parents and people like people. So if somebody is fear-mongering you and they're looking into a camera like I am right now and they're saying, oh my gosh, you're a dad and therefore you're going to be treated differently and disrespectfully by the court, run screaming. They are operating under fear and they're trying to scare you about something that I don't believe to be true. Another red flag that I see in divorce attorneys is when you have a divorce attorney that is answering their own phone. Now look, I know all of us have started out at some point as a solo practitioner, and you may have to answer your own phone sometimes, but if your attorney is consistently doing that, it means they're not able to organize their work in such a way that they can sit and concentrate on your case, that they can sit and concentrate on you, that they can sit and concentrate on preparing for your trial, preparing your mediation statement, preparing your financial statement, and really looking through all of your documents carefully. I find this to be a red flag. And again, I'm not talking about every now and then they pick up their own phone. Even I answer our phones now and then. I'm talking about every single time you call, that is who answers the phone. It might seem really, really comforting in the moment because, oh, I have access to my attorney at any moment, but you got to remember every moment that they're doing that, that's somebody else's life and file and case that they're not giving 100% attention to. And that to me is a bit of a red flag. Another red flag that I see in divorce attorneys is a relatively low flat fee. I recently had a case against an attorney that did a flat fee of $6,000 for a child custody modification. Flat fee of $6,000. Now, from a potential client perspective, I can understand how this would be attractive. After all, $6,000, you know exactly how much it's going to be. You know it's not going to be a penny more, a penny less. You can budget for it. You can plan for it. Awesome, I got a great deal. Look at me, I'm a great negotiator. I got a great deal because I negotiated a flat fee and I know how much I'm going to pay, and the other side has no idea how much they're going to pay. The shoddy work that came out of that law firm was horrible. And the thing is, they had no incentive to do better. If you could, I'll give you a really simple example. If someone said, here is $5,000, and I need you to make phone calls in the next hour, and you could make 2 phone calls or you could make 200 phone calls in the next hour, which would you do? You're not going to work as hard. You're just not. If you could get the same $5,000 for 2 phone calls, why the heck wouldn't you? And that's the problem with flat fees. They may be appropriate for certain things like criminal cases and other things, but for family law cases, which are so evolving, you don't know what's going to happen in the case. You don't know if there's going to be an emergency situation, a domestic violence situation, a big discovery of something that's going to dramatically affect the lives of these children. You need to be able to respond to the situation at hand, and you need to be doing the appropriate amount of work for what the case needs. And that may be more or less than that $6,000, than that flat fee. So if an attorney is offering you a flat fee, know that it doesn't matter how much work they do for you. Doesn't matter how much they care about your case, and it doesn't matter how much effort they put in moving the ball forward. They're going to get that same amount of money, and so they have no incentive. Big red flag to me. Another big red flag that I see for divorce attorneys is where they have 1 paralegal or legal assistant for 3, 4, 5, 6 attorneys. Every time I see that, and sometimes I see that in really, really big law firms, I don't get it. I really don't. I invert that triangle and do it upside down. I have more paralegals and legal assistants than I do attorneys for a reason. When you have 1 paralegal or legal assistant supporting multiple attorneys, that person can't do everything. And what that means is that you're going to be paying attorney rates for things that a paralegal or a legal assistant can do. You're going to be paying $400, $500, $600 an hour for things like copying exhibits, or redacting documents, or emailing you to remind you to respond to your discovery documents, or downloading the documents once you send them. Why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to pay a legal assistant or a paralegal rate for those things? It doesn't make sense to me. I think that if you see that kind of situation, you should consider it a red flag. It doesn't mean that they're bad attorneys. It does mean that your costs are going to be so much higher for things that could have been done by someone else. Another red flag that I see for divorce attorneys is when you walk in for your consultation or your strategy meeting and they are agreeing with everything you say and everything you want. I promise you there is an opportunity to refine what you're saying or refine what it is that you want. Because if they're agreeing to everything you're saying and they're promising you the sun, the moon, and the stars, they're not being critical thinkers and they're not giving you a proper analysis. I have spoken to attorneys that have flat out told me, yeah, whatever the client wants, that's what I'm going to ask for in court. And I asked them, well, if your client's asking for something really unreasonable, don't you tell them that? No, they're paying the bill. They'll just go to someone else. What? What? I don't go to a financial advisor telling them, expecting them to go, yes, Christy, do exactly what you said you're going to do without giving me any advice. I don't go to a doctor and say, hey, I have this problem. I think this problem is X, Y, and Z, and want them to go, yes, Christy, whatever it is you say. Why the heck would you want your lawyer to do that? That makes zero sense to me. You do not want to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for someone to be a yes man to you. You can get a yes man for free. Instead, you want someone that's going to partner with you on your divorce, that's going to tell you when you're being unreasonable, that's going to tell you what is realistic and not realistic to get in court, and is going to help you to create a plan that's going to get you to the best possible outcome for you. And that doesn't mean being your yes man. So if you walk into an office and you find a yes man, run. Another red flag that I see in divorce attorneys' offices is when they bill monthly or quarterly. And I'll admit, this used to be the standard, and it could be for a very good reason. It was incredibly time intensive to get out bills when they had to be printed and reviewed and printed again and then stuffed and then mailed and all of those things. And it's still a process to get a bill out the door because you want to make sure that it is perfect as possible. But in today's day and age, when everything can be done electronically, when everything can be sent electronically, and when things can be reviewed more quickly, why do you want to wait a whole month to know what your legal team has been doing on your case? And why do you want to wait a whole month to know what your bill is? Those bills are astronomical, and looking back at 30 days worth of work can be really overwhelming for you to remember what was done. Was that phone call really that long? What emails were sent? All of those different things. And it's also a really long time for your legal team to kind of have been keeping track of those things. So I find monthly billing and quarterly billing to be a red flag. Here we bill every other week, and I know law firms that bill weekly or even sporadically more closely than a month apart. It doesn't mean, again, they're bad lawyers or that you're getting bad legal services, but it does, to me, represent a red flag as far as how a law firm is run and what kind of information you're going to get as a client, and what kind of bills you're going to receive at the end of a very big month. Another red flag that I see in divorce attorneys and in divorce firms is when you can never get your attorney on the phone. That is a huge problem. I have had a lot of clients come to us after working with other firms, and this is one of the things they said. I could never talk to my attorney. I could never get them on the phone. They never responded to my emails. At Z Family Law, it is our commitment that we will respond to your emails within 72 business hours. And if your attorney is not available to talk on the phone when you call, if it's an emergency, we're going to get you right to another attorney who is available. And if it's not an emergency, we're going to schedule a call back so you know and you have the confidence to know exactly when you're going to hear from your attorney. And that attorney will be prepared because they know, hey, this person, I have to call them about X, Y, or Z, which means it's going to be more efficient. And the more efficient we are, the more money you save on your bill. So if you are working with a divorce attorney and you can never get them on the phone and they're not responding to your emails, they're not being a good partner to you in helping you get to your new beginning. Another mistake that I see people make when they're choosing a divorce attorney is looking for that divorce attorney that does the "we fight for you, we're going to be aggressive, blah, 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 blah." Why? But seriously, you do not need to be aggressive in every single case. You do not need to be aggressive in the vast majority of cases. And also, you don't need to hire a one-trick pony. Hire a legal team that is aggressive when the situation calls for it, that has finesse when the situation calls for it. And that wants you to focus on your new beginning, on the future, not on making today a gigantic mess. Because all the gigantic mess does is harms your future relationship with your co-parent. It harms your ability to have a good financial future because you're spending it on attorneys to clean up after they churned up the mess. And it's interrupting your peace. So if you're working with a law firm that is telling you, let's fight, let's be aggressive, blah, 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 and you're not really sure the situation calls for it, run. It's a red flag. If you are ready to hire a legal team that is going to treat your case with the respect that you deserve, that is going to treat you with the respect that you deserve, and is going to really be a partner with you in helping you get to your new beginning, we're ready to help you. At Z Family Law, we don't write endings, we create new beginnings, and we're ready to help you create yours.